Hey book lovers, Victoria here and you're watching My Books and Me. Today I'm bringing you a review for Queens of GEEK by Jen Wilde. This was a fantastic book that I think everyone in this community should read. Like, it's amazing. So first off, I was kindly sent a review copy of this from Pam Macmillan Australia in exchange for an honest review. All opinions are my own and So this book follows BFFs Charlie, Taylor and Jamie, who are from Melbourne. They're very close to graduation and they are attending their very first Supercon in America. Charlie is a vlogger and she recently starred in her very first movie called The Rising, and so she's at Supercon to promote that movie. It's kind of like a dystopian type movie. We sort of hinted at what it's about, but yeah, it's very much like a dystopian type thing. And so she's at Supercon to promote it and she managed to get 2 tickets for her friends to come along, and it's like a really big experience for them. They've always wanted to go to Supercon and they're finally glad that they can be there. Charlie is hoping that this appearance at Supercon to promote the movie will help her show the public that she's over her very public breakup with her fellow co-star, and it proves to be a little bit harder for her because while she's there, her co-star isn't actually meant to be there, but he gets there a couple of days earlier and everyone's asking about if they're going to get back together, and because they're here together and they're like really happy with one another, that maybe they're going to get back together. And she gets really annoyed that this is what the world sees her for, but she ends up meeting fellow vlogger Alyssa Huntington, and Alyssa is a very famous vlogger, and Charlie has always had a massive crush on her, and she soon learns that the crush is not one-sided. The two of them, they film a collab together and a spark forms because they've both admired one another for years, and they sort of get into a relationship, but Charlie has to overcome, you know, public perception of her and that she shouldn't listen to what other people have to say about her life and her relationships. While all that is happening, we have Taylor and Jamie, who are the other 2 BFFs in this trio, and they very much have this nice, cute little relationship. They both have crushes on one another, but nothing's really sort of happened between them, even though they kind of flirt back and forth. Taylor suffers from social anxiety and it's quite severe, and she's also on the autistic spectrum with Asperger's syndrome, and she finds it very hard to let people know how she's feeling, and she finds that she thinks she's very alone in the world, that she can't really explain to other people why she feels this way. And she knows that whenever she tries to explain her social anxiety to someone, they just sort of think it's nothing that's holding her back. Like, she just doesn't like talking about it. She has her friends and they know what to expect from her and how to sort of help her when she's going through an attack and everything like that, but she doesn't like voicing it with other people because she thinks she gets judged for it. And going to Supercon is a very big thing for her, because with the graduation coming up for her and the plan that they're all going to move to LA, she's like, there's a lot of big change coming for her, and she feels like if she can go to Supercon and she can meet her favorite author, that she can have confidence to be able to do this big change that's coming up in the future. Unfortunately, she's unable to meet her favorite author. Her author has to leave, but she finds out about this fan contest to prove if she is like the biggest fan of, I don't even remember. It's some author who wrote a book series that is sort of meant to be like Harry Potter in this world, even though Harry Potter exists in this world, but it's, you know, it's a big book series and this big author. And so she tries to prove herself as being a super fan, and this contest is a very public thing. You are up on stage in front of a whole audience of people, and it's something that she has to try and overcome to prove to herself that she can do it. And at Supercon, she comes to accept that she is part of this world, this fandom world, where there are people like her, and she actually meets a comic book writer, yeah, I think that's what she did, who has Asperger's just like her, and she is able to use that disability but she's been able to use like fandom life and geekery to help her express herself and feel confident in herself. And Jamie's just there tagging along with everyone and she also worries that if anything happens between her and Jamie, that it might, if it doesn't work out, that ruins the friendship. She'd rather have a friendship with Jamie instead of a relationship that could fail, and her and Jamie sort of convinces her that, you know, if she doesn't take that leap, she's never gonna know. And yeah. So this book is amazing. Let me just start off by saying I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. It was absolutely fantastic. So this book is filled with so much like geeky, fandom-y awesomeness that I feel like everyone can like see themselves in this book. I connected with different elements of all of the characters, and I feel like that's probably the same for a lot of people. You know, even if you've never experienced a lot of this stuff, I still think you can see yourself within this story, within these characters, and you can relate to what they're going through. Like, even though they're at like a comic, well, they're at like a supercon. If you've never been to like a convention or anything, that doesn't matter. You can still feel like the fandomness seep out of this. You can relate to so much within this book. What's more, this book is super diverse. It's actually also an own voices novel. So Charlie, she is a Chinese Australian bi teenager. We get to see her in a relationship with another female, and she's very open about being bisexual. She talks about like experiencing that she was like finding out that she was bisexual, and how she liked being with guys, but then she also had crushes on girls. She's very much open about that, and it does in the book talk about how she is open about being bisexual, and I think also how she's very open also with like her audience as a vlogger that she's bisexual and everything like that. As I said, Taylor suffers from social anxiety. She has Asperger's syndrome, and that is focused on quite a bit. Like, she has I think it was about 2 social anxiety attacks in the book, and it shows how she deals with it, and how it talks about how she's managed to find a way to help herself overcome those attacks, or to know the signs of when she's about to experience an attack, and what she can do to help herself either not have the attack to begin with or to get out of the attack. And I thought that was, I really enjoyed that aspect of the book. I don't think I mean I don't have social anxiety, but I do have like a minor form of anxiety. I do get quite anxious about things. It's not like it's diagnosed or anything like that, but you know, I feel like I am sort of someone who does have like a little bit of anxiety. That is something that I deal with sometimes. And it was just really nice to read about this, and to also see that in a character, and not only just have them mention that they have social anxiety, but also to actually see them having an anxiety attack and what they do to deal with it. And honestly, Jamie is just a swoon-worthy geek. This book has alternating perspectives between Charlie and Taylor, and Jamie's just there. I kind of wish we got also Jamie's perspective, but he spends a lot of his time with Taylor, so we get to see what he does through Taylor's eyes. I really wish we did get Jamie's perspective. I feel like that would have made this book so much better, but honestly, yeah, Jamie is just this really cool, geeky guy who I think any girl would be happy to be with. So we follow the 2 alternating perspectives as they explore SuperCon, get caught up in all like the magical awesomeness and the geeky fandom-y awesomeness and all the drama that unfolds and everything they have to deal with over just this one weekend. Like, everything that Charlie has to deal with in regards to her relationships is sort of all out in the open, and she has to learn very quickly what she's going to do, and decide very quickly, you know, what she wants to do in life and whether she wants to listen to what other people have to say about her. At the same time, Taylor has to decide whether she wants to go ahead and put herself out there for this fan contest, or whether she wants to regret it for the rest of her life. Even if she tries it and even if she fails, at least she can say that she's done it, and she knows in herself that she can do these things, that she can put herself out there in front of people that she doesn't know. There's also a ton of pop culture references in here that honestly I didn't get all of them, but you will definitely get some of them, and even some of the things that are like written into this world, like this author and this book series that Taylor is obsessed with, and what everyone is obsessed with. It's kind of like a Harry Potter Hunger Games type thing. It's a book that's turned into a movie series. Even with the movie that Charlie does, is called The Rising, and the glimpses we get of what it's about, it's kind of like an apocalypse. Like, I've never seen The Maze Runner, but it kind of reminds me of that for some unknown reason. I don't really know. But it's just, every aspect of this book is something that I think everyone can relate to, and I think it is something that we as a community would really appreciate. It's something, I feel like this book was written for our community, for the book community, for anyone who's ever experienced fandom life. And apart from just being like super geeky awesome, it's got some really amazing messages in there. And I'm positive that one or more of these messages will hit home for you. I feel like that, as I said, you will be able to connect with many aspects of this book, whether it be a certain character or different elements from all of the characters, different emotions that they're feeling, different things that they go through, the messages that they're sharing with one another. I feel like you're going to be able to connect with something, whether you've experienced it or you felt like you've experienced it or not. As I said, this book is written for this community, is written for anyone who has ever experienced being involved in a fandom, who has ever geeked out, who is ever obsessed over a book or an author or a movie or a TV series or a comic book series or whatever. Definitely see yourselves in one of these characters. I know I did. I definitely saw myself in in elements of all of the characters, whether it be like a surface level thing or something like deep inside a character. You will probably be able to connect with it, and it'll probably help you feel something about yourself and make you realize something and make you take away one of those messages from the book. This book, I literally did not know what to expect when I went into this. It sounded amazing and I did not think it was going to be as amazing as it was. It's definitely made it into one of my top 5 books of the year, and it's definitely a book that I will come back to again and again in the future. It's one of those happy, feel-good, geeky, cute romances with awesome characters. It's very diverse. If you're looking for diverse reads, definitely recommend it. It's also by an Australian author, which is also amazing as well. Seriously guys, go out and pick up this book. I will leave a link in the description below to the Goodreads, the Book Depository, and Booktopia pages, as well as my written review on my blog. Seriously, this book is fantastic. It also looks absolutely amazing, and I really recommend you guys read it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys soon with another one. Bye.